Today we have with us Kelley Cunningham, a joy expert and author of a very inspiring book, The Power of Joy. First of all, Kelley, thank you so much for your presence here today and for the opportunity of talking a bit with you about your book and all of your experiences. I found this concept, joy expert, very interesting. So I would like to start by speaking a bit about this. What exactly is a joy expert and how did you become one?
A joy expert is someone who is a joy seeker, someone who is looking at things through a positive lens. And, in this world, it's not always easy. It started back a few years ago. My husband had a traumatic brain injury and we had 27 months of recovery. And instead of looking at all the things that were going wrong, I tried to seek tiny moments throughout the day to create a joyful moment. So I was trying to offset all of the challenges and things coming at us with some joy. And it made a huge difference in my life. I found it empowering. I found that energy was lifting. It not only helped me in that moment, and it could be a few moments. I call them my energy moments, me moments. It's a moment to meditate. It's a moment to reflect on what's going right, because we're always consumed with what's going wrong. And there's so many things that can bring us down. So you have to just be consciously aware of where you can find joy, what brings you joy.
And was this like an individual process, or did you have like a mentor or somebody that taught you how to value joy?
It was an individual thing, and that's what I believe will help other people seek out the joy they deserve in life. I believe that we all have that capacity to add joy to our lives. So we're not just going through the motions of our lives. Add joy not only to our home life, our relationships, but to our work lives. We'll add I call it you wake up with that exuberant intent to thrive. So instead of just striving for mediocrity, the same old thing, not expecting better, you wake up expecting more in life. And this is something that I drew on through my own development, and it's made a huge difference in my life.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk a bit about your book, The Power of Joy? What is it about? Do you have like practical exercises people can do in order to promote a joyful attitude?
Absolutely. There's tips and tools. And I talk about in the book how I look at happiness and joy as two distinct entities. You take the joyful moments and those times in life, and then when you're not in, say, a happy moment or a joyful moment and you're struggling, you look to those through the different channels, gratitude. So I say, have an attitude of gratitude. Be grateful on purpose. Make sure that you're adding that element within your thought process to keep yourself going, to keep yourself motivated. And that self-love, which is so important, is essential in terms of maintaining that joyful spirit. And it's going to give you a feeling where you're living your best life ever status. And we all are deserving of it. And once we recognize that, it's a magical feeling. It's kind of like that faith. Faith is one of the 6 pathways to joy. And you can't see it, but it's a feeling, and it's motivating, and you can trust in your faith. So it definitely is a book that has steps, tools. I support it with scientific studies, and it's just me encouraging you.
You talked about faith. I don't know if you are spiritual, and if yes, do you think that it's important to be somehow spiritual and like believe in a higher power in order to find that positive attitude?
Yes, I think it's essential to whatever that means to you, whatever spirituality means to you. It's so important to gain that sense of trust. And it's so important to make sure you're protecting it and lifting yourself and loving yourself and staying determined, staying disciplined. We all have goals. We all have things we want. And if we keep going, we make a list, whatever we need to do to keep on track. And one of those things is that self-love and that faith in believing we can, believing that there's support out there and the world is good, not all bad. And even on those dark days, to look to that little bit of light, that glimmer of hope, that faith will hopefully keep that momentum of going forward, knowing you deserve more.
Mm-hmm. Our audience, the Portuguese community, as you know, is a very religious one, very Catholic. Our culture is very Catholic. How do you see this? Do you think that it helps the Portuguese community and whoever believes in the Catholic ideology? Do you think it helps people?
I absolutely do. And I try to be non-denominational in the book, but I definitely say it was God whispering in my ear, giving me that strength, giving me a way to pivot in a different direction when there was so much chaos going around us. That joyful moment, those peaceful moments brought me so much clarity. They kept faith within me. So I definitely believe it's such an important part. I talk about being a warrior spirit and a warrior spirit of faith. So you can be faithful, you can have, a strong tie to your religion, but to actually let that magic, which faith is a magical, essence out there. It's nothing that it's not tangible, but it's so important, is to action on that faith. Make sure that you are in line with your core values. And if that is family, if that is faith, make sure you're actioning on that. Because if you're telling yourself, I can't do this, this isn't going to happen, you are not actioning on your faith. You're actioning on it by not worrying. You can be concerned, write a list, figure out solutions, and move forward in that direction. So I talk about that a lot in the book, actually, how my faith in God, how my faith in the world has made a big difference in the quality of my life and the success of my life. And I believe everybody deserves that. And that's what the book is all about. It's friendly reminders. And as I said, it's backed up with some scientific stuff. So it makes sense. And I have a lot of my own personal concepts that have come out from my experiences throughout life. And I know it's God guiding me in the right direction to my best life. He wants that for us. So we need to want that for ourselves and move forward in, that positive direction, supporting ourselves, having that pride. If you think back and reflect, you think, God's proud of me. I need to have that same inner pride out of the respect and love and faith that I hold. And if not, then I'm not actioning on that. So it's really important to look at both of them. To have faith is one thing, but to support it with your actions is, that's a game changer. So that's definitely, what a great question. Thank you.
Thank you. We know that in some extreme situations, and especially during the pandemic, some people had to resort to antidepressants, medication. Actually, some data says that Portugal is a high consumer of antidepressants. What do you think about this? Do you think it might help or not?
I am a natural girl, and I definitely support anyone who is going through a depression. They seek the proper medical help and whatever they need, antidepressants. I actually talk about this in the book. Those chemicals going in your body, and they're going to lift you. They're self-lifting. And there's where, the faith and God comes in. He balances it all out when we are consciously aware of how to add that. So I say in the book that There's so many ways. Exercise, of course. And if you're not an avid exerciser, just get outside for a walk for a few minutes. And if you find that tough, start with, as I said, a breath of fresh air. And it's going to relax you. It's going to take your mind out of those circular thoughts that are trying to bring you down. I know it was tough at COVID, right, for us all in isolation. It was new. Change isn't always easy, but you've got to seek out ways to create that balance. And I talk about that in the book too. I talk about harmony. And some people I talk about it with people and they feel so disconnected, but harmony needs to be a part of all of our lives. And I call that, there's a harmonious balance. You have to take those little moments, those little me moments to offset and balance out your life, even if it's going out and grabbing yourself a latte, but looking forward to it and having it to be guilt-free. Don't say, oh, I shouldn't spend the money. Like if you're going to go in, you be all in. Make sure you're taking that me moment and it's bringing you the joy. Because if you're standing in your own way and saying, oh, I don't even deserve this, I haven't got my work done, all of these things flood our thoughts. And I say, stop, respect yourself, love yourself, and put yourself first, some self-care. And it could be something very simple, going for a walk on your lunch break instead of sitting with people maybe who are negative in the lunchroom. There's all of these things that we can choose and pivot in a different direction, and that will lift us in our next moments. That will give us, and you can draw on that later on in the day and say, I did. I had a goal to go sit outside, and I did. And then I watched the birds. I watched somebody walk by, a couple talking, and they looked like they're having a wonderful time. That lifted me. I smiled at someone. They smiled back. I mean, just a simple smile to someone can release those happy hormones inside of you. So it's really important.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the birds. This leads me to my next question. Do you believe that the nature and animals might be therapeutic as well?
I absolutely do. The oxytocin, talking about one of those happy hormones, is considered the one of love. And they talk about, there's studies that, just even petting your cat or your dog, I was talking, can lift those feelings, those happy hormones. So I think it's really important to recognize how easy it can be. People think, well, I can't do that, I'm so busy, but it only takes a few moments. And when you're your own cheerleader and you're cheering yourself on, you're like, yeah, I deserve this. I deserve these few moments. Get up a little bit earlier, or make sure that you're taking time. I mean, we all love our social media. Get on there and just give yourself a 5-minute window to look at all of the cute videos. I know I love watching and seeing those, and there's so many fun videos. Share them with a friend. That's another way, create a connection with others. If someone pops into your head, take the time to send them a message. I was thinking about you today. I know it'll lift them and it'll lift you. It's that giving is a gift. So even volunteering, that can release those happy hormones, those all awesome endorphins that lift us to the next level. And we see the opportunity in life. So I definitely think, getting out there for a hike, going for a walk, and just sitting outside, especially during the summer. It's so wonderful. We can get out there now and enjoy.
It's interesting that you talked about social media, because it's also a very hot topic when we talk about well-being and mental health. Do you think that maybe an excessive use of social media is bad for us, in the sense that we are always comparing ourselves to others? Some people might say.
Comparison is a tough one. I have a quote in the book that's called "Envy will leave you empty." And I talk about simple ways that you can shift from an envious to a comparison, more to, I say, give a compliment. It's something something that you want for yourself. And while we should be running our own race and focused in on what we're doing in lives, it's only natural to see something in someone, you admire it, but our ego gets in the way and it becomes this envious. And then you look down upon them instead of uniting with them and saying, hey, you know what? Even it could be a coworker. They, gave a good tip at the meeting and you want to learn more about that. And so don't look at them as they're separate. We're all one together. So I say, go and ask. Most people are more than happy to, take a few minutes. A good leader is a good mentor too. So just reach out and say, hey, I admired this about you. So you're giving a compliment. That's creating that joyful moment. You're setting yourself up for success because it's something you see. So don't sit back and scowl or, not pursue that in a positive. So I always say, give a compliment, replace that comparison, and you'll find a joyful moment. You might find a new friend in that too. And definitely social media can be tricky. And we've got to be very aware of how much time we spend on there. Because again, it's all about that balance. If we spend too much time, then we're like, what have I done with my day? Or if we spend too much time on accounts that aren't in line with our core values, again, it's so important. You have this faith, you have this belief, yet you're sitting on accounts that are the opposite to what you believe in. It's okay to say, I'm giving this a break, or I'm giving this person a break. They don't need to know. You can, there's so many ways now that you can subtly do that. You can put them on snooze for, 30 days or whatever it is. You don't have to make a grand gesture and say, you're not the person I need to be connecting with, because that just creates more negative energy, where I'm always about let's just keep it positive. How can we make these connections and our experience on social media better? And one way is to make sure that you're connecting with accounts that are lifting, that are looking at ways, learning. You want to learn about sewing, you want to learn about cooking. Find the most enthusiastic people who are doing those things and connect with them. And you're going to learn something. And, social media could be great. It connects us all, but we're not connecting in real time. We're not connecting, person to person. And you get to know a lot more about other people when you're feeling their energy, you're in the same room. So we've got to develop new ways to create a meaningful interaction on social media. So definitely a good topic to cover.
Do you feel that the power of joy is helping people? How is the feedback?
I get a lot. I'm lucky on social media. I think my positivity spawns that ripple effect of joy, and I get a lot of really positive feedback. I get a lot of people who reach out just to say, you know what, this made my day. This lifted me up. And most of my stuff in social media is little reels that I'm just encouraging you, or it's a little mindful tip. So you're, oh, okay, I'm aware of that. Okay, yeah. The whole reason I did it was to create a revolution of joy within their spirit. So I hope that that's what it does. It's just recognize that they're worthy of joy, that joy is so important to have a great life, and that they can claim best life ever status. So I hope that that's the direction that people are going.
Mm-hmm. Where can people find your book?
Anywhere online, Amazon, Kindle, you can get a ebook copy, and the publisher is Friesen Press, so they have their own website where they have my book. There's a hard copy. I've got one right here, and then also on paperback. So really, I think there's over 300 or 400 retailers online that you can grab the book. So yeah, it's there, and it's a good book in terms of sometimes you pick up these self-help books and you feel like you have to read it all to kind of gain what you need from it. This is broken in, even the chapters are broken into smaller sections. So you could just go in and read a little bit, and hopefully it would lift you and help support you. And you don't have to kind of go back and reread if you don't have a lot of time, because I know a lot of people don't have a lot of time to read books, but I think this one's a good one if you really want to capture that joy in your life and these simple tools and tips. So yeah.
Do you feel it's more appealing to women or men?
You know what, I would have said women, but I have a lot of men reading this book, and their feedback is really positive. It's like, this has created a different way of looking at joy. I didn't realize joy was not, because I say joy is a strength and a strengthening tool. It requires strength and it gives you strength. So I have some guys, like men and, guys in their early 20s who are giving me feedback, and I've seen some reviews on Amazon, and I'm delighted. But I did, it is sort of focused on women in terms of it's, I'm walking you through some of the aha moments through my life where I recognized what a present moment mindset and how beneficial it is to stay in the moment and not always be distracted by the past or fretting about the future. So I talk about that. So I talk about mothering and what that meant to me and how I, kind of came across that being in a present moment. I talk about my experience in my early 20s, learning how to meditate and, overthinking the whole thing. So it definitely is a guide to, guide anyone who's looking for that joy, but women for sure who would like that boost and sort of like, I've been there, I've done that. I'm going to help you get through it too.
And finally, Kelley, do you have any future projects?
I am writing another book about the essence of self-love. I believe that's our greatest love of all. And once we understand how, it's sort of, I say that joy is the light of love. Whenever you put out love into the world, you get a beam of joy back at you. So a lot of my thoughts, especially post-COVID, seeing and interacting with clients and people on social media, it's that self-love. So that's the next avenue that I think I'd love to support people to recognize how worthy they are and how we all have that greatness within us and that we all deserve greatness in life and how to tap into that, just like tapping into the power of joy.
Thank you so much, Kelley. I feel more joyful after this conversation.
Aw, thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity, and maybe we will speak again in another opportunity.